Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going fantastic. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today I'm going to create a card for Pretty Bean Posh. We have a few new items from the brand new release we're going to be using. The birthday signs is so cute. I fell in love with this little alligator. We're going to use him along with the coordinating die set for our card today. For our sentiment, there's a new sentiment shadow die. This is the large Celebrate Shadow script die. We'll be using this on our project, along with, which I wanted a balloon. I wanted my little alligator to hold a balloon. So the birthday sentiment stamp set had the perfect size balloon. I'm going to stamp a balloon and color that in for my project today. So let's jump in and stamp our alligator and do a little bit of coloring. I love that they're holding signs. I think they're so cute. I'm going to stamp with my Memento ink, and I'm going to color in this alligator with my Copic markers. I might stamp a couple stars too. Let's stamp a couple stars. Okay. I'm going to zoom in and play a little bit of music while I color, and when I'm done coloring, I will catch you back. Okay, coloring is all done. Now I'm going to go ahead and take our sentiment and stamp that. I'm going to stamp, since we're using the Celebrate, I thought It's Your Big Day would be super cute on the inside of our sign. I'm going to stamp that with my VersaFine ink. Wonderful, it's so cute. I'm going to go ahead and take the coordinating die and we'll die cut that out. Okay, I went ahead and die cut out my cute little alligator. He looks just adorable. And I forgot about my balloon. I colored in my balloon and die cut the balloon out as well, using the same colors as I did for the party hat. We're going to put these off to the side and do a little bit more die cutting. I'm bringing in a Pretty Bean Posh Build a Gift die set. Love this. Presents and birthdays just go together. And then I have some colored cardstock that we're going to be using with this die set. I'm going to keep it pretty simple and just using this die. We'll die cut this out with the darker orange cardstock. I'll create a bow with it with the lighter orange along with a ribbon. I'll die cut 2 of those out, and then with my teal and my darker teal we'll die cut out polka dots with, let's see, we'll do polka dots with the, I think we need a green in here. Let's bring in some green cardstock. I have a scratch piece here I'm going to use. We'll bring in some green cardstock, and then I'll die cut out the background with the polka dots with the teal. With this, we'll die cut out some ribbon or a bow with this one and then the teal. Now, while we're die cutting, I'm going to take black cardstock. I'm going to die cut out our Celebrate, and then I will die cut out the shadow with white cardstock as well. So I have a bit of die cutting to do. When we're all done, I'm going to do a little stenciling too. We're going to put it all together and create a fun card. So my die cutting is done. We're going to take, well, first, before we do our presents, we'll add our celebrate to our shadow. I chose black because it's bold and it'll really stand out on the card today. Just add a little glue. If you want to use white liner tape behind here and just peel the release paper, I think sometimes that's easier. But this is kind of a delicate script. Okay, we'll add this to our shadow. How fun is that? Isn't that such a pretty celebrate? Now, to create the presents, I do want to do a little ink blending. So I have candied apple. We'll take this, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading to one side. Just one side here, I think is going to work fine. Okay, with candied apple on that darker orange cardstock. And then, okay, and then with the green, I'm going to go over that with mowed lawn, just to add a little bit of color here. Sometimes doing a little bit of extra shading just gives it a little extra dimension. Okay. Now we can use our glue and attach our bows. To do it, it's very simple. Just add glue behind here. I'm going to use my tweezers. We'll add this. That ink blending, it kind of looks, you can really tell. Just gives it that little extra dimension. I'm going to go ahead and add glue behind this layer. I love polka dots and birthdays. We'll layer this on our teal cardstock, and it lines up beautifully. And then we can go ahead and add our bow. This one I think we're going to add to the center. Kind of overlapping them. And then with this present, we're going to add a little glue to the top. And then we can add the light teal, add a little more glue, and then we'll add the dark teal. And we can kind of crisscross these. Maybe it's a little off center. We'll center it a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so our presents are all done. Pretty quick and easy with that. Now, I love the bright colors that we have today, but I do want to bring in a little bit of a background. To do that, I'm bringing in the Pretty Pink Posh Layered Clouds stencil set. I'm going to bring in a panel. This panel is slightly smaller than my card base, so it measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to start with layer A, and we'll just line it up on the bottom here. And just using my blending brush, we're going to bring in some salvage patina. I think that's a match pretty good. We'll bring in some salvage patina ink and just add a little bit of color to these clouds. Okay, once my first layer is done, I can remove this, and then I already have a little bit of pixie spray behind here, so it's tacking down. I'm going to go add the second layer. We'll line it on the bottom here. And then we'll add a little bit more ink. This one we can go lighter or heavier, however you prefer. I'm going to go a little bit lighter. Make some nice fluffy clouds for our background. Okay, I think that's going to work out. To them, we have some fluffy clouds. I think that's going to go really good with all of our elements. I'm going to flip this around. Although when I did do the stenciling, I have that harsh line on the bottom. You know, I'm going to take a piece of this colored cardstock, trim a thin strip, and cover that on the bottom. It's a good way to cover up your mistake. Okay. And this is about 1/8 of an inch, not a quarter. It's just a thin strip. And then I'll trim off the excess here. That way we don't have that harsh line, but we have a little color on the bottom. It's going to work out great. I'm going to go ahead and pop up my, actually let's put this on our card base. Let's flip this around, add some adhesive. We'll add this to an A2 card base. And it's going to leave me a little bit of a border. Wonderful. And then we can add our Celebrate. I'm going to pop this up with some small foam squares. And then we're going to tuck, I didn't put any adhesive over the top, we're going to tuck some presents under there. We'll add some adhesive behind here. I want to make sure my balloon doesn't, I'm going to trim a little bit off my present. This way I have a little more room for that balloon. Wonderful. And then we'll add our polka dot present. We're going to have a blue hanging from his tail, I think would be cute. Now we have our 3 little stars. We'll add those. And I am going to pop them up with some small foam squares. Okay. I think that looks really cute. Now, of course, we need some bells and whistles. So I'm going to bring in Glossy Accents. We're going to go over our balloon. Actually, I put a glob on there, but before I do that, I'm going to take my white gel pen and do a little highlighting with that balloon. So it's underneath my Glossy Accents. And we can highlight our little alligator too. And then we can go over our balloon with the Glossy Accents. Wonderful. I'm going to go over the stars also. Wonderful. And then we need some sparkle, so I'm going to bring in some stickles. I have my diamond stickles here. And I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to the polka dots on my present here. And also on the party hat, we got to have a little sparkle on that. And I want to, since these are crisscrossing on this present, I'm going to add a gem to the center there. Wonderful. And then that will finish off my card today. I hope you enjoyed my project, the super fun birthday card. I think it's great for anybody, boys or girls. But I wish you a lovely day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you again real soon.